Once upon a time, JuJu Smith-Schuster was a top 3 Dynasty wide receiver. Now he's outside the top 40. Can he ever make his way back inside the top 10? Let's find out. What's up, everybody? Nate Liss here once again to help you dominate whatever Dynasty leagues it is that you play in. If you like the content you see today, drop a comment below. Hit the like button as well, and if you would, hit the subscribe button. Help me get this video out in front of a greater and greater audience. It is my goal to help share this fun, unique content with the rest of the world, and you guys can certainly help me get there by doing those things for me. So let's jump into this video right now. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, JuJu Smith used to be a top 3 Dynasty wide receiver, and then one day Dynasty owners woke up and he wasn't anymore. And I'm still shocked. A player that's 25 years old with 2 seasons of 97 catches or greater is somewhere in a Target laying in a bargain bin next to Hanson, Britney Spears, and Lady Gaga. But seriously, his middle of the 9th round Dynasty startup ADP has him next to Christian Kirk, Kenny Golladay, and Josh Palmer. And because of that, I think I'm going to be cautious. Because JuJu Smith-Schuster checks literally every box we look for with a player coming out of college. A 92nd percentile breakout age, upper percentile athleticism, draft pedigree, dynamic with the ball in his hands. And then, of course, once he gets into the league, 3 top 25 fantasy finish seasons. Multiple years being inside the top 15 in yards after the catch. Number 1 in fantasy points per target. And now he's set to be a free agent, and some of you still look unhappy. And just look here, JuJu Smith is literally dropping hints that he is out of Pittsburgh. I know that there was a concern for people that one of the places he may actually go back to was the last place that he was, which was terrible for most of us. A lot of us wanted him to leave Pittsburgh when he had the opportunity. He re-signed for 1 year in Pittsburgh. Of course, gets hurt, misses 12 games. The whole season, the wheels fall off the bus. But now JuJu Smith is essentially alluding to the fact that he is out of Pittsburgh. So take a look at this. This was recently posted on Instagram, and it seems like JuJu's saying he's out and he's not coming back, which is absolutely best case scenario. So why am I so excited about the chances of a Dynasty resurgence from JuJu Smith-Schuster? Well, Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel literally just laid out the blueprint. Imagine a moment in time where you could get Deebo Samuel or Cooper Kupp at the wide receiver 30 price tag. Oh, that's right. It was back in week 1 of this last season. Look, search the rankings on the internet. If you can find one fantasy service that had Deebo Samuel and Cooper Kupp inside the top 10, I will eat a penguin live on this show. Contact me if you have access to live penguins. Because not a soul predicted that this outcome would take place between these two players. They were very reasonably priced before the season started. In fact, if we use the keeptradecut.com data and we go back to mid-August, we can take a look. Deebo Samuel was the wide receiver 38 and Cooper Kupp was the wide receiver 26. Furthermore, alluding to the fact that nobody knew this was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen. I mean, I predicted before the season started that Cooper Kupp was going to have a much better season than anybody had anticipated him having, but I didn't think he was going to set records. I didn't think that he was going to blow the doors off of everything that we've ever seen from most any wide receivers. I didn't predict that, but I thought, oh, you lost Cam Akers, you lost Robert Woods. We saw the data between Matt Stafford and Golden Tate, the slot usage, and I thought, hey, 100 catches isn't out of the question. I didn't picture 1,900 yards, but now we have Dynasty analysts that have Deebo Samuel, wide receiver 4, 5, 6, 7, and Cooper Kupp, you know, the Dynasty wide receiver 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere in that range. And it's like, guys, where were you a year ago? Where were you in August when Keep Trade Cut says that they don't believe you? They're saying this isn't true. Much lower was the crowd consensus on these two players, but yet people will lead you to believe that it was obvious all along that these two players were going to break out the way that they did But it wasn't, because Cooper Kupp had finished last year in a crowded offense as the wide receiver 26, and Deebo Samuel, who only played 7 games, finished with 11.5 fantasy points per game. So you tell me where the data was to allude to this. Also, this is a San Francisco team that had added Brandon Ayuk to its offense. So there was some belief out there that maybe Deebo wasn't the answer in this offense. Maybe Deebo wasn't going to ascend to the level that he ascended to. So there's a lot that has circulated since then, and people will lead you to believe that they were way ahead of the curve on this, but they weren't. And because of that, that's the blueprint that excites me about the potential for JuJu Smith-Schuster. But a weird argument has been made about JuJu Smith-Schuster. People are saying he's not the player that he was a few years ago. And I hate this argument, because it's not that he's not the same player. It's that this entire Pittsburgh offense has changed. Look, in 2018, JuJu Smith didn't accidentally end up the wide receiver 9 across from Antonio Brown. Okay, Antonio Brown didn't just take away defensive coverage and make it easier on JuJu Smith-Schuster. He had a prolific season. He's a talented wide receiver, but here we are in Pittsburgh, and things have certainly changed for the worse. Sheesh. I mean, back before Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool and Pat Freiermuth, we were seeing JuJu Smith-Schuster running on the outside roughly 55% of his snaps. And he was devouring defenses as a big slot wide receiver. In fact, in 2018, he ran 56.6% of his snaps out of the slot and averaged 18.4 fantasy points per game. But of course, since the additions of Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson, it's looked a lot different. That 55% of the outside snaps that he was running once upon a time has literally plummeted since these players have been in Pittsburgh, all the way down to 17.8%, which we saw in 2020. But again, this is not JuJu Smith-Schuster's fault. You see, it's no secret that Ben's arm has been toast for a couple years now. And with it has gone his target quality and accuracy of deep balls. And even worse, Ben Roethlisberger actually had the lowest time to throw of any quarterback in the league in 2021. So what does Pittsburgh do? They go Chase Claypool. You go deep. Deontay Johnson, you run intermediate and shallow. And then JuJu Smith is like, hey, Mike Tomlin, what do you want me to do? And Mike's like, yeah, what should I have you do? Oh, I know. How about you run about 3 steps past the line of scrimmage and then turn around and just wait? And that's exactly what happened. The Pittsburgh offense is literally so loaded that their players were essentially locked into a role, and JuJu's role was to give Ben an immediate option. This isn't some Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, lack of time to throw, only one option in the passing game player situation. No, this is a team that had an embarrassment of riches, and because of that, JuJu was not asked to run deep. And even if he did, Ben probably wouldn't connect with him anyways. And that's it. That's the answer, guys. But for some reason, I can't shake this feeling that JuJu Smith-Schuster and a player like A.J. Brown are not so different from an ability standpoint. The difference, though, is that Tennessee plays a lot of play action and rips off big chunk plays, and they're still targeting a guy like A.J. Brown much further down the field. But I see a lot of parallels between these two players. Because the deep ball is exactly what you used to see from JuJu Smith-Schuster. In fact, in 2018, JuJu Smith-Schuster saw 24 deep targets for 384 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that was over 16 games. And then across his next 33 games, JuJu still only saw 24 deep targets for 260 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Pittsburgh literally flat out stopped using JuJu explosively, and the numbers bear this information out very clearly. They added other talented wide receivers in specific roles. His slot rate was jacked up all the way to 82%. His ADOT dropped off by 5 yards between 2017 and 2020, and his yards per route run fell back an entire yard. It's been tough to watch. But it's not as tough to watch as what's happening to his value on Keep Trade Cut. He's currently the wide receiver 40. That's between Brandon Cooks and Odell Beckham territory. But it's his trade value on Keep Trade Cut that really has me alarmed. Currently, His equivalent trade value in terms of rookie picks is the 2.04. Are you kidding me? Would I prefer a random rookie in a soft draft class over a 25-year-old wide receiver with 2 seasons of 97 catches or greater? Let me get back to you. But it gets juicier because currently JuJu Smith-Schuster is pegged for 3 primary landing spots in free agency. Again, JuJu Smith-Schuster loves Pittsburgh. He's made mention of it multiple times. Clearly, Pittsburgh is still in the running. We hope to God he doesn't go back there. But the 3 places that are currently in his running are the Philadelphia Eagles, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Philly really doesn't make my pants tight whatsoever, but the Chargers and Kansas City were both ranked inside the top 3 in pass attempts in 2021. Mike Williams is exiting the Chargers most likely, and he's going to leave behind 130 targets. And Kansas City would kill for a nightmare slot receiver option like JuJu Smith-Schuster, a guy who in 2020 had 0 drops on 128 pass targets. Absolutely sure-handed across the middle of the field. But no matter what team he lands on, you can guarantee yourself at least one thing. He'll be featured on the outside yet again. And whatever team he ends up with will have a quarterback with enough arm strength and enough accuracy to bring those deep balls back to JuJu Smith and make him a treasure in Dynasty yet again in 2022. I'm very excited.